Thank you for coming. We are very excited to have someone here who you might know. So I'm just going to ask a couple questions while we get started. Who won the silver medal in the 2004 Olympics? All right, that's pretty good. Who won the 2009 New York City Marathon? Who came in fourth in the 2012 Olympic Marathon? Who won the most important Boston Marathon in many, many years this year? All right, that is true. There are a few people in this world who are known by only one name, and one of them is the person who you're here to run with tonight. And we're going to start off by introducing that one named person, and he's actually going to take some questions for you, about 5 questions or so, some training questions. Then we're all going to go for a run. Before we do that, I'm going to have a couple ground rules that I'll give to you after we talk. But you've already named him, and he's right there. All right, so I'm going to hand over the microphone to the one named person. What is it?
Thank you, everybody. Thanks, Dave, for having me here, and Fleet Feet on behalf of the Rock and Roll Marathon and St. Louis. It's an honor to be here, to be able to, enjoy this moment and run with you guys. And I hope I get to interact with all of you. And we are runners. I always say run to win. Doesn't always mean getting first place, but getting the best out of each individual yourself, and get the best that you can each time and every time. We start together. How we get there, we all know it's challenging, but we get it down to that finish line. And some of us might get there a little quicker than others. But, it's my job. I just try to make it as efficient as possible and effortless, but guess what? I am hurting too. I'd like to say thank you again to the competitor group for allowing me to be here with you guys. This is such an honor. As VP of Running, I ran the course from 8 to 18 miles, so looks pretty good. I don't know if hopefully you guys are ready, and it's fairly flat and little rolling hills, which is kind of good because it kind of allows you to change your mechanic, your cadence, and lean forward and mechanics and all that. So it's nice, pretty well smooth terrain, and should be fun. How many of you guys are around Boston? Well, I'm glad you didn't beat me. Otherwise, I wouldn't be standing here. But that mile, I believe 16 of that course here today, when I was running the course, it brought me back to Boston. It's very similar to downhill, making the right turn to the fireplace and then going up that hill. So if you're looking for the Boston qualifying time, this is a good course to do it. Have fun, and let's do a few question and answer if you guys like.
All right, raise your hand if you want to ask Matt a question, and I'll reach out to you. Come on, somebody's got to have a question. Training? Yes, back there.
I'm like never speechless. Do you ever get blisters? I mean, like really bad? What do you do about them?
What's your name?
Michelle.
Michelle. I am Mr. Blister. I don't take pride in that, but I do get them, and it takes a while, and I've been getting them since 2001. On the track, and then the biggest one was in 2007, Jacksonville 15K. They in fact have to take the whole callus out of my foot, and never since been the same. So Vaseline, and Vaseline. But you know what? It's part of running. But also look at your shoes. If it's too small or too long, too big, that could be a little bit variable there. So, but the journey takes itself. It's not just. You will get some, but it's just how deep. You don't want to get the big blood blister and get, in fact, I got those, and I got a foot infection, and that took me out for 3 weeks before the Olympic trials in 2012. I only have 48 days, but when you come back, you have to come back to the fitness that you were. Don't be in a rush. Life is about patience, marathons about patience, half marathon patience, and training is about patience. Don't be in a rush to get fit so quick and set yourself backward.
In the last mile of the Boston Marathon, you were frequently looking over your shoulder at the second place runner. Can you tell me what was going through your head and why did you keep looking back at it?
I did that? Just 100 times, right? Coaches always told you never look back, it's a sign of weakness. I don't think that's true. Looking back can save you. Mile 23, first time I looked back probably, I mean I did a few times on a turn, but Boston is point to point, it's kind of a lot of turns to see the course or competitors. But at 23, something told me to look to the right and I saw bright orange color. After that, what I was looking back for was, three things came to my mind: slow down, try to solve on Boylston Street, or maintain the gap that I have, or extend the gap that I have, that I'm dealing with. So the first one was pretty stupid because if he catch up to me, he's gonna have the mental edge, and now it's equalized. But what I was looking back was, am I maintaining the gap or extending the gap? And it's not a sign of weakness, come and get me or whatnot. But in the last mile, you want to go for the win. The whole country's on your shoulder. I mean, when the Boston Red Sox won the World Championships, I know I'm St. Louis, but when they did that, now imagine, when they did that, when things are going so bad for the Boston Marathon, they put the trophy there. It was a necessary victory. And that goal for me says, they did that for the city, can I do that for the runners? So that's what I did, and then looking back on the last mile or last 300 meters or whatnot, it's like I have enough. I know I have enough, but at the same time, you don't want no surprises. And I was able to do that by looking back. You just go, USA, USA. And that was a horrific moment for all of us, for the runners on Boylston Street, just blast over, bombs all over, and wounded, and we lost 4 lives, but we can't get this life back. But there's many others that are dealing with that same situation, mentally, physically, and for me to change that, I've been thinking about it for 365 days. What can I do positively to change that? And I felt God gave me that opportunity, and that moment and day probably was more assuring that I was meant to be a runner. So, and I'm glad to represent all of us to get that victory after 31 years, to be the first time.